Okay, well, welcome everybody. My name is Mary Akehurst. I'm glad that you're with us today, either listening to the live or the replay. Today, we're going to have a special speaker talk about the pathway to better health. I believe you'll find this information very informative and bringing hope, actually, for your health. We'll touch on the products and business of LifeVantage, share what sets us apart, and make space for your questions. Our part will take about 20 minutes. You don't have to get anything today, but if you like what you hear, the person who invited you can show you around their website. A little bit about the company of LifeVantage. Families turn to LifeVantage when they want health problems solved and hope restored. They want to achieve more optimized health and look radiant. They often battle low energy, struggle with cognitive decline, addiction, depression. They may be dealing with poor gut issues, autoimmune diseases, respiratory issues, cardiovascular issues, gastrointestinal issues, joint and skin issues. All these sorts of concerns are addressed by the products that LifeVantage has produced and is well known for. What makes LifeVantage different from other companies is the science of activation, the patent formulas, the customer care, and the business opportunity. LifeVantage is an international nutrigenomics company. It's science-based, customer-focused, with all natural solutions for cellular transformation. Products include Protandim, Petandim for your dogs, Tru Science Liquid Collagen, pre and probiotics, Axio Brain Neutropic, Tru Science Anti-Aging Skin line, Rise AM and PM Reset, Time Nutrient Delivery System, and a few others. In 2005, ABC Primetime did an investigative report on the first Protandim product, the NRF2 Synergizer. The reporter took the activator daily, and his blood work showed a reduction of oxidative stress by 45% in 2 weeks. The scientific community took notice, and the show prompted dozens of studies. One report from Washington State University says, "It is our opinion that raising NRF2 is likely to be the most important health promoting approach in the foreseeable future." What makes LifeVantage different is the activation is backed by science and built on the highest quality standards. The Protandim patent blend is peer-reviewed by over 28 studies from university and research labs. The products slow down aging and restore you to a healthier state. LifeVantage is a publicly traded company on NASDAQ. The company is debt-free and offers an excellent compensation plan. LifeVantage biohacking ethos guides everything, including the manufacturing of the products, ensuring all raw materials and finished products are third-party tested, 100% to prevent harmful contaminants. Beyond the cellular transformation with the products, LifeVantage Legacy Program invites consultants on volunteer teams to together build homes, create jobs for needy families, and provide medical and disaster relief support, making a difference in people's lives around the world. The reason I decided to do this as a business, as part of our ministry, is that this activation products are so unique. We were introduced to LifeVantage in the spring of 2022 by another ministry leader who is on this session today. So we're so grateful for that. When I was asked to document a study of people who struggle with addiction as they took the flagship activator, Protandim, NRF2 Synergizer for 6 months, I witnessed people gain cellular restoration and freedom from addiction. My husband and I personally experienced our own health breakthroughs, and I realized with the variety of health issues in people all around us, this information and these activating products need to be shared. The person who invited you and I are creating a team of people who offer hope for health. If this is something you would like to learn more about, as a business, we can talk about that later. Now, let's listen to today's speaker talk about the pathway to health. Today's speaker is Jacqueline Shepard. She's a grandmother, a researcher, educator, health counselor, co-founder with her husband of International Prayer Ministries, and author of Silent Takeover. For 60 years, her counseling, research, and teaching concerning the body and brain have transformed many lives. 13 years ago, her memory was declining. She'll tell us about her experience and share more of the activation science. Welcome, Jackie.
Thank you, Mary. I'm delighted to be with you. I have such admiration for Dave, as well as just for the ministry and what he's doing. Mary, can you see me?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, good. I think that where I want to head this morning, because we have a lot to talk about in a short amount of time, is one, I'm going to tell you briefly my story. I have been in health research for over 60 years. It started when I was trying to link nutrition to behavior with teenagers in my classroom, led into some pretty deep, early pioneer research on ADD, ADHD, and autism with several different doctors, and then my own research throughout all of these years on just trying to understand more about the body and the brain. That's why the book Silent Takeover: How the Body Hijacks the Mind, as well as right now, these last few years, I've spent a lot of my time helping people like Dave and Mary and Colin have better health. Because if they have better health and longevity, they can work longer in the vineyard. So I like to contribute to better health for the servants of the Lord. Mary sent me a brief list of some of the things we're going to talk about this morning. But when I was 67, I had been suffering for 5 years with a debilitating back injury. I couldn't pick up my grandchildren, could barely cross my legs, barely get around. And I had also recognized that I was suffering from short-term memory loss, which early stage dementia runs in our family. And I had watched family members have it through the years. I knew what it was because I've done a lot of studying on the brain. Also knew that the medicines were not going to help it. So I was doing a lot of praying, Lord, don't let me lose my mind. I was invited to watch the ABC primetime video that Mary just mentioned to you, which shows in a blood test that a condition that all of us have, called oxidative stress, could be lowered in a blood test. It was a game changer, because with my 60 years of research, I knew that we could not show in a blood test that the antioxidants that people were taking were making a difference in their oxidative stress. The reason for an antioxidant is for oxidative stress. I knew it wasn't showing up in a blood test. I knew regardless of how much we gave to children with ADD, ADHD, or autism, or people with depression, bipolar, schizophrenia, if they got better, it was a tiny amount. So I was not at the point where I was willing to continue trying to work with metabolic testing and people getting a handful of supplements and seeing just a little bit of results. So I was also doing a lot of praying about, Lord, how can we help these kids? When I saw the ABC investigative report, and I saw that that oxidative stress could be lowered by an average of 40% in 30 days, an average of 70% in 120 days, I knew several things. One, there wasn't another pill like this in the world, or I would have known about it. And secondly, I was going to take it. Thought it was going to be like vitamin C or vitamin D. You know, it's good for you, but you don't feel the results. I just knew that if I could lower oxidative stress, I'd most likely have better health. Within 2 months, my back pain was gone, and that was because of the drop in inflammation. 4 months, my memory had improved. 6 months, my brain was back. Why? It was because oxidative stress was associated not only with inflammation in my back, but inflammation in my brain, as well as age-related drop in the body's antioxidant enzymes. So everything we've already talked about this morning can be found. And Mary, are you looking at PubMed.gov?
Yes, I see it. Yep.
Okay, let's see if I can get rid of this little thing so that I can see it. Okay, if you're looking at this, you're seeing that this is the National Medical Library of Medicine. So you can imagine you've just walked into a building that's blocks in size. And inside are millions and millions of clinical studies from around the world that are peer reviewed. That means 3 different research facilities have to do the same test. They have to get exactly the same results, or their results cannot be published here. And even then, only 20% of the papers are considered perfect enough to be published. So you heard me talk about oxidative stress, but what is oxidative stress? Well, you see there are 376,539 clinical studies on free radicals. There are lots of things that cause free radicals in your body. One, just plain metabolism. If you watch the ABC primetime report that Mary mentioned, you know that we make free radicals every day. But as we age, we begin to decline in the good guys our body makes to lower the free radicals. So as we age, free radicals go up and our production of antioxidant enzymes go down. There is a tipping point. And everything that you are experiencing right now has to do with inflammation in the body, most likely caused by these free radicals. The reason that free radicals were so interesting to me back in the early 80s, when it was just being information in the scientific world was just coming out about them, was because children with ADD, ADHD, autism, or any childhood disease had higher amounts than normal children. In a child, you should barely be able to measure it. Some of you, if you had childhood diseases or learning and behavior problems in school, if we had done a blood test on you, might not have been your bad attitude. It may very well have been high levels of free radicals. 1985, the accumulation of free radicals in the body that was greater than what the body could handle health-wise started being called oxidative stress. So what is oxidative stress? It's just the accumulation of free radicals in the body that they've outnumbered your good antioxidant enzymes. You'll notice there's 501 clinical studies. If you multiply it times 3, lots of studies on oxidative stress. Scanning through, you see it in Alzheimer's. You see it in arteriosclerosis, male infertility, osteoporosis, cardiovascular, and so forth. Now, this one right here, oxidative stress in health and disease, the therapeutic potential of NRF2 activation, has to do with our product. So you go on and you can read these. They're a bit sciencey, but let's do this. Let's talk about the particular things we talked about this morning. What about IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome? 220, let's see, I may have to type it in here. Let me type it in. "90 results." What's it going to talk about here? This is a very interesting one. This is brain oxidative stress in irritable bowel syndrome. Behavioral and oxidative stress changes. Now, these are some mouse tests. Why do they use mice? Because most of the time, like 95 to of the time, they're going to get the same results in a human as they do in a mouse. Now, here we go on down to where they are not just mouse tests. This is humans. So when you look down here, you're going to see that there are many studies on oxidative stress as the cause of the disruption in the gut. Okay, I think we talked about chronic fatigue. Let's see if there's any studies on chronic fatigue. There's 451 studies on chronic fatigue. Now, why is that so important to know? Well, for many years, they didn't even consider that chronic fatigue was a real disease. They thought it was neurotic women because it showed up in women at the beginning more often. And so they didn't even consider it a real disease. It was only later that they began realizing that chronic fatigue typically leads to fibromyalgia. You'll have the chronic fatigue first, and then it can go on to fibromyalgia. Let's look for another one here and see if there's any relationship. Let's see what else we were interested in. Emphysema. I think I spelled that one wrong. Maybe it'll correct it for me. Yes. Oxidative stress, a facet of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD. Oxidative stress. So it goes all the way down here. Oxidative stress and COPD. And one more we're going to talk about. And then I'm going to explain how this works in the body and why we get different results. And some of you, a lot of times by the time people find me, they're really at the end of the row. They don't understand what's wrong. They've tried all sorts of medicines, all sorts of therapies, and they're still sick. They're still in pain. And we're going to talk a little bit about diabetes too, Carol. This particular thing talks about the role of oxidative stress in neuropathy, as well as just this particular one is really good. The effects of inflammation, aging, and oxidative stress on diabetes too. In fact, let's just look at diabetes too while we're here. And Carol, if you look this up, there are more studies under Roman numeral 2 as well. 19,026 on oxidative stress. Let me see if I can turn that off. Oxidative stress and diabetes too. So what does this do in the body? How do all of these things have one thing in common? Well, it's not just your physical disorders. It's not just disorders like cancer, for example. You're looking at almost 40,000 of oxidative stress and cancer. But let's look at this one, dementia. Almost 8,500 in dementia. But what about depression? Is depression physical or is it mental? 4,956 will show you the role of oxidative stress in depression. And this one was a new one for me about 13, 14 years ago. Oxidative stress in addiction, 751. Because when they have begun to understand addiction in the body more clearly, they found out that one, there's a deficiency in how the body makes and utilizes neurotransmitter glutamate that makes a child a sitting duck for addiction if this is irregular in their body. So how does this work in the body? Well, what happens is that, and I'm going to try not to make this real sciencey, you have little messengers, signaling messengers in your body. and they talk cell to cell. I dropped a glass bowl of fruit on my toe this week. Trust me, every cell in my body felt it. And by the next morning, I had a black toe and a half of a black foot. But I was feeling the pain. It wasn't that those messages didn't go to my brain. If they'd not gone to my brain, I wouldn't felt the pain. So our cells talk to each other. And that messaging has a lot to do with how healthy we are and whether or not we get the right response. If you're exposed to a virus, for example, your cells have to message each other. Foreign invader, we got to get busy here. Well, the most important signaling pathway in the body is from damaged cells, damaged DNA, actually, to your survival genes. And that is this long word that's been shortened to NRF2. Now, what is NRF2? It is the messaging molecule, but it is sitting in every cell idle. It's waiting to be activated. So Mary was talking about how our company was different because our products are different. It's because we're not a supplement company. We're an activator company. So when you take that little yellow pill that Dave Johnson's been taking now for, I don't know how many years, Dave, what it does is it activates every cell in the body to send this little pathway, this little messenger into your damaged DNA. So sorry, I'm trying to. I had my phone right by me and now it's driving me crazy. It signals from the damaged DNA to the, now I've just about lost you all. Give me a minute here to find you again. There you are. The damaged DNA in your body to your survival genes. And what it says to your survival genes, Lorena and Carol, is get on the job. There's damaged DNA in the body. We need to do something about it. Now, I want to explain real briefly the difference in an activator and a supplement. If you're out in the sunshine is activating your body to make vitamin D. Or you can go to the health food store and buy a bottle of vitamin D. If you buy the bottle of vitamin D and take it, you have supplemented your vitamin D. If you're out in the sunshine, you have activated your vitamin D. Our products are activators. These little 5 herbs made by the Lord, combined in a very synergistic formula, that's why it has so many patents on it, activates this signaling molecule to tell your survival genes do their job. And when they start doing their job, for example, Carol, with many, many people, and this is not a claim, I'm not a doctor, I do have some personal experience with this, the A1C tends to start lowering. Why? Because the body is able to do a better job of healing itself. It's able to do a better job of instructing your cells on how to improve their very own health. What does it do with addiction? And this is why I know Mary and so forth is, I'm very interested in helping people who struggled with addiction understand that there was something wrong in their body when they were a child. This information has only been out there for maybe 16 years, maybe not even that long, maybe no more than 13 years of these imbalances that were there to begin with. And so a lot of the shame and guilt of addiction is removed when the person begins to understand why when they smoked a cigarette and their best friend smoked a cigarette, that they were instantly addicted and their friend was not. That was the difference in one thing in their body. It's also why kids may almost, so many kids will experiment with alcohol. Some are instantly addicted and they may fight it the rest of their life. So, do I want to help addicts? Absolutely. Do I want to help all of you with your health problems? Absolutely. We have a long list of activators. We don't have time this morning to teach you all of them. Uh, I think the most important one is our NRF2, followed by a new product we have, which is collagen peptides. Now, you see collagen in the grocery store, you're looking at cow, bovine collagen, or you're looking at chicken. You can boil chicken feet and get quite a big pot of collagen. However, when you take the collagen from the grocery store, for example, you're going to digest it and your body is going to make a few collagen peptides. Our collagen is peptides. What does that mean? It means that it is equipped that when it goes into your body, it doesn't just transform your skin. Most people take collagen because they want better skin, better complexion. What we have seen is reports from people on what's happened to their Crohn's, their IBS, their gut disorders, because your gut's made out of collagen. So this activator, collagen peptides, enables your body to make collagen back like you did when you were younger. These two things have just received a patent. There's a lot more science coming out on what the combination of NRF2 activation and collagen peptides can do. Now we're going to stop and ask questions. I'll do my best to answer them. And then we can do some private conversations later if some of you prefer.